Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Boom! What's up, guys? And thank you for tuning in to another episode. We are talking about whether or not you should sign up for a CrossFit competition. Is it for the fire breathers, or can it really be for all levels? And we're going to give you guys some tips and tricks as well. So we hope that you guys enjoy it. Make sure you give us a rating and a review, and let's get to it. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my podcast. Just kidding.
With Susie and Brandon.
Susie and her guest. And today my guest is Brandon.
Yay.
Oh, welcome to the podcast, babe.
Thanks for having me. This gym is pretty cool.
Yeah. I knew you'd like it.
Well, joking aside, I hope that everyone listening is having a fantastic day, wherever you are in the world. And we've got a short and sweet episode because the team over here has been suffering dearly for the last few days.
It's been a wild ride. Having a small child just makes everything, even being sick, like so much tougher.
Yeah, Susie and I have been fighting a virus for the last few days.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Some sort of stomach flu or something, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, here we are. And we're going to do a short but sweet episode.
Well, let's tell you, here we are on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And this episode drops in less than 12 hours.
Yeah. 4 a.m. Let's get to work.
Yo, we got work to do.
So we're going to do a quick podcast today. And it kind of goes well with a few of our previous episodes.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a little series.
With something that's coming up at our gym that we're focusing on a lot behind the scenes. And that is whether or not you, that's right, you listeners.
Especially
the ones sitting in your car driving to work right now. The one on their run listening to us. The one heading over to the CrossFit box right now, trying to get your motivation up.
Yeah.
Wondering if you should compete at a CrossFit competition.
Yes.
So we're going to discuss all things competition-wise. Should you even participate? Who should be doing this? How should you prepare for one? And yeah, and we're going to talk all those things. First, we have our Turn Up the Heat competition that is coming up on Saturday, July 5th at CrossFit Max.
So exciting.
This is volume 3, so third year of doing it. And it is probably one of the most exciting days of the entire year.
Hell yeah.
Now, you might be listening to this, and maybe some of you guys have competed in that competition, which is really cool. And hopefully we'll see you back on the floor this summer. And some of you guys maybe have been considering competing. So let's talk about, where do we want to start here? Should we talk about whether or not people should be competing? You want to start there?
Yeah, let's talk about like who should be signing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the first question is people might have is, well, am I fit enough to do
a CrossFit competition? Yeah, so before you click off this episode and think, hey, this episode is not for me because I just started a couple months ago and I'm fresh into CrossFit. Yeah. Stick around, find out that there are competitions, or there is a way to compete at any level in CrossFit.
And like our competition that's going down in July, there are many others throughout the summertime.
So many.
And a lot of these competitions have different divisions that you can register for. Some of them will host like standards where they'll give you, okay, if like you can clean and jerk this weight, or they'll say like in the scale division, you should be able to clean and jerk It's 95 for the boys and 65 for the ladies.
Yeah.
And if you want to go in the RX category, you should be able to do 135 for the boys and 95 for the ladies.
Right.
Or if you want to go into the elite category, you have to be able to clean and jerk 185 pounds and 125 for the ladies.
Right.
And then they'll give like gymnastic standards. Like, okay, in the scale division, you have to do jumping pull-ups. In the RX, you have to be able to do chest to bar pull-ups. And in the elite category, you have to do bar muscle-ups.
Right.
So a lot of competitions will let you choose which category you're in.
Yeah.
So there is really
a wide range
of
Definitely.
Fitness levels for people to sign up for these. And most of them are done in teams as well.
I love that aspect of it, actually. I feel like it really adds like a fun element working in partners, in teams.
Yeah. So the difference between, you know, the competitions could range in categories. It could range in movements. And in our situation, we do it like open style.
Yes.
So meaning we release the events ahead of time, and then the teams can choose whether or not they want to RX or if they want to do this scaled version of the workout.
And everybody is technically in the same leaderboard.
Exactly, yeah.
But anybody who RXs a workout in that case is going to be ahead of somebody who scales the workout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of just like the open.
Exactly, yeah. So these competitions are first held. They could be fundraisers for gyms like us. We like to put those funds towards purchasing equipment for our gym.
Hell yeah.
It also puts, you know, marketing, right, for other gyms to come and find out like who CrossFit Max is, or to do all these other events.
Cool our gym looks.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I also just personally love organizing events. So it's really cool to, you know, reach out to vendors and get sponsors for the event and just set up like an epic day. The atmosphere in a competition is really different. Mm-hmm. So so you have these competitions that are wide range of skill level. You can really go to like a beginner level, or you can really go to an elite level. You can do this as individuals. You can do this in teams. You know, our competition is a male-female mix, but some competitions are teams of 4, 2 males, 2 females. Some competitions are teams of 3, all males and all females. So really there's just like this huge wide range of categories that you can participate in.
Yeah, so there's basically something for every CrossFit athlete, no matter what level you're at right now. It's really fun signing up for a competition because it gives you like a target to work towards. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm kind of like jumping ahead into like talking about like why would we sign up for competitions?
Yeah.
I feel like did we finish talking about who should sign up?
Well,
no, let's like talk about it more.
I think there's pretty much 3 different people. There's the first timers.
Yeah.
Right? There's the first timers who are maybe listening to this and maybe want to, or maybe they're listening to this and being intrigued by the thought of signing up to something like this.
Yeah, like they're really enjoying CrossFit and they like the idea. They see it as something like a new challenge.
Yeah. And like this comp could like help like build their confidence, could help build like a sense of teamwork with some of the people that they might be teaming up with.
Right.
And you know, there's also people cheering for you as well. So it brings a lot, and it kind of breaks new barriers, new limitations, especially for a beginner. When you're a beginner to intermediate athletes, it's really hard to truly know your limit.
I so agree, yeah.
So that beginner, that first timer, it's really just very eye-opening and can just bring a lot of motivation around your training. Yeah, I feel like
more often than not, the first timer in a competition setting surprises themselves with what they're actually capable of, kind of with that adrenaline going, with the crowd cheering, with the kind of energy and camaraderie of a teammate cheering for them. Like more often than not, the experience is, oh my gosh, I did this thing that I didn't know I was going to be able to do, or I doubted that I was going to be able to do, and then I actually executed it even better than I had previously imagined.
Yeah. We talk about like good stress and bad stress. This is a good stressor to have because you overcome the fear, the butterflies, the I can't, and then you end up doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So the first timer, it's usually a more stressful situation.
100%.
But yeah, it is really cool because it can really boost your motivation around training. It could really give you a new eye opener towards CrossFit.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And and it'll just teach you new limitations about yourself that you didn't know you had.
Yeah, and I think like participating in a competition, whether that's a small competition at like your local box or like a bigger competition organized kind of like in a stadium style or whatever it is, like when you're participating in something like that, you get to see like a different part of the CrossFit community where you get to integrate with other gyms and other athletes, and you really see like everybody is just cheering everybody on. It's such a positive atmosphere, and it just makes you feel like part of something a little bit bigger than sometimes like what's going on inside your four walls.
Yeah. And then there's the intermediate athlete,
Yep.
which we spoke about on one of our podcasts before.
Very recently.
So this, for the intermediate athlete, this could give a little bit more specific training, right? We talked about, bringing more intensity when you're an intermediate athlete, and really sharpening your movement patterns. So really focusing on the quality and being like, I can't remember if we spoke about this for the intermediate or the advanced, but it kind of goes well for both of these categories, but really just working on that movement economy, right?
Yes.
So being efficient on the burpee and being efficient on the barbell thruster, and being quick with transitions with your partner and communicating these
strategy.
Things. Yeah, strategy involved rather than just like, blinders on, and just going through it, right? And that's totally fine if you're a beginner. But now for the intermediate athlete, they want to be able to strategize. They're looking for these things.
Yeah, looking for opportunities to get seconds and get reps. And
yeah, exactly. And then for the more advanced athlete, or even let's say the elite athlete, this is an opportunity for you to showcase your hard work. And it's also an opportunity to win some prizes, because like at our competition, we're going to have Shop Santé as our major sponsor. And I don't want to say how much they're gifting this year, but last year they gave hundreds of dollars of gift bags of supplements to the podium winners.
The prizes were stacked.
Yeah, not just that. Then there was Fresh MTL, who gave again $100 to the first place. Was it $100, $50, and then I think $100, $75, and then $50 for the three podium winners as well. Yeah, so there's opportunities, and some are just like, some competition are just straight up just cash prizes. You could win
100%.
some good money at some of these competitions as well. So it's for the elite or the advanced athlete, it's an opportunity for you to really put your training to the test. And also go back to the drawing board after and figure out where those weaknesses came up, and then you could really hammer those. And also the opportunity to potentially win some cool prizes or money.
Nobody doesn't like a prize.
Nobody, yeah. So let's talk about some of the common myths and fears.
Let's do that.
The first one being, well, I'm just not good enough.
Right.
What would you tell that person?
Boo.
That's not what we would tell them. What would we tell them?
I would tell them that maybe...
Here's the sign-up link.
No, not to... I would challenge them to change their mindset to maybe they feel as though they're not quite advanced enough, and so that's where that feeling is coming from. But then we would just spin it back on that sort of first timer that we just talked about, and explaining to them that you don't have to be at a certain level in order to compete, and why not give yourself the challenge, talk to them about the benefits that they could get from it, and stuff like that. Because I wouldn't just be like, no, you're amazing. I would just explain to them all the great things they're going to get from it and how good they're going to feel participating. And hopefully they will come to the realization that they are definitely good enough right now, and it maybe will make them even better of an athlete long term.
Yeah, I would remove the word might. It'll for sure make them a better athlete at the end of that.
Yeah, you're right.
What about, I don't want to look dumb? Because this is something very common. I don't want to look silly. I don't want to look dumb in front of people.
I think sometimes people really how do I say this in a nice way? Like people think that okay, blah, blah, blah. I feel like sometimes when you're participating in an event, you think that the spectators are watching you with judgment. And so you have like fear of embarrassing yourself or looking silly. Yeah. But if you reflect on your experience as a spectator, I'm sure there's no time that you can reflect on that you thought, oh, that person looks like an idiot trying a competition. Instead, you look at people working out and usually you're inspired by their effort. Yeah. And more often than not, you're cheering for them, even if you don't know the person. And so you have to think about that is what other spectators are also doing. They're cheering for you. They're inspired by you. They're looking at your effort. No athlete is perfect. Every athlete makes mistakes. That's just like part of it. And I wouldn't worry so much that people are going to have negative opinions of you. I think they're just really on your team.
Yeah.
And that's what CrossFit's about.
Yeah. Usually at these competitions, there are spectators. And again, it varies on the size of the competition. But everyone's there to cheer you on. It's just like in a CrossFit class.
100%.
No one is next to you being like, wow, that person really sucks at push jerks next to me.
You know, even
everyone's
also,
trying to like help that person do push jerks even better or trying to put on weight or trying to encourage you like, no, man, you're doing great.
Yeah, or they're not even noticing like you specifically. You know, sometimes you feel like the main character in your story and that everybody's watching you because you're putting yourself kind of in that position of having spectators. But more often than not, people are not fixated on you specifically. So I wouldn't stress about it.
Yeah. I'll go into this next one. This is something that I hear quite often as well. What about I'll slow down my partner or my team members, right? So for this one, usually when you're signing up with someone, it's because they want to do it with you.
100%. So
and
true.
I hear this quite often and I flip it back on them. And I said, what if your partner was slowing you down? Would you be angry at them? Would you be frustrated with them?
Right.
Would you have wished you chose a different partner? And most of the time, that answer is no, no, and no. Be like, I just wanted to do the competition with that person, and they gave it their best effort, and I'm going to give my best effort, knowing that we're both going to give our best effort, whether we go slow, moderate, or fast, whether 100%. We go light, heavy, or we're just grinding through and suffering together, whether we get stuck at a certain point and, you know, our score is lower. At the end of the day, the fun part is signing up and doing all the things, going to the competition and competing on like getting on the floor, going through the butterflies and the nerves and getting your first workout completed and then feeling like on top of the world. Yeah. And so whenever someone usually thinks about their partner in the situation, just reflect it back on you. Well, how would I feel if my partner did this?
It's kind of like the spectators, you know, reflect back on how you would feel if you were spectating.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other thing is, well, it's too intense, right?
Boo.
And maybe, I mean, that could be totally right because a CrossFit competition is different than a group class. Yep. You're doing multiple workouts in a day. And it is more intense, but remember that intensity is relative to the effort that you're going to bring. Exactly. So you're not, if you have 3 to maybe even 4 workouts to do, you're not going to necessarily go 100% on the first workout, or at least you shouldn't. And hopefully your coach will help guide you. This is going to be one of the things that we talk about in our next point, but you should be somewhat conservative in your approach to the events because you have to do multiple workouts in a day rather than a group class where you finish a 12-minute AMRAP and then you're done and you can do some stretching and get on home, right? Now it's like, okay, I have to rest about 2 hours, then I have another event, and then I have to rest another 2 hours, then I have another event, right? So for sure, the intensity is higher, but I think that all of the benefits that come from it will outweigh the too intense part.
Yeah. And also I think that it's only as intense as you make it. Obviously, you want to bring the intensity, but nobody's forcing you to go at a certain speed. You know, that's the whole point. Some people are going to be faster than others.
Yeah. So let's go into tips for first-time competitors. And maybe that could be just tip number one is depending on where your fitness level is, like whether you're the beginner, the intermediate, the advanced/elite.
Yeah.
Then you gotta know your fitness capabilities for a longer day, right? So like we said, you got to be somewhat conservative on the events, and you can't just send it all out, or else you're not going to recover in time for your next event. The next event.
Right.
So there's that would be tip number one. Tip number two is just making sure you pick the right division.
Yeah.
Right. So check out the standards. Make sure you're in the appropriate division. You don't want to be a beginner athlete and signing up for the RX category by mistake.
Correct.
If that's the situation, like I said, at our gym, we have the RX workout, and then you can choose as a team to go into this scaled in each event.
Right.
But yeah, you want to make sure every competition is different. Sometimes you choose a division and you're in it for the whole process. And
the workout is the way the workout is.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to make sure you're in the right division. The other thing is preparation.
Yeah.
Right? You want to make sure that you are training for this, right? Most CrossFit competitions release the workouts in advance. It's not like the CrossFit Open where they just drop it on you, and then like in 24 hours you're doing it. Most CrossFit events will release the workouts in advance.
So you have a little time to do specific preparations. Yeah.
So if you see that there's snatches at 95 pounds, then make sure you practice some snatches at 95 pounds before going into the competition.
Right.
If you know that there's rowing in the event, well, maybe you want to work on your rowing, right? So maybe you spend a little bit extra time before or after class on the rowing machine, right? So just looking through those workouts, giving yourself some actual practice, and and just being a little bit extra prepared for game day. The other thing is, when game day comes,
right,
how should you get ready for that? Number one, make sure you get a good night's sleep the night before.
Oh my gosh,
that's going to be crucial. I would also say that not just the day of, but the day before competition, you should be definitely eating a lot more carbohydrates.
Right.
So you're about to go through an intense day of competing, multiple workouts. So the day before, you should be for sure getting extra carbs in, whether that's extra fruit, some pasta, extra rice, getting some like a lot more vegetables in, making sure you're getting like things like honey, electrolytes, right?
Yeah.
Really getting your body as prepared as possible the day before, and not showing up on game day like underfueled or not hydrated enough. Yeah, or underslept, I guess. Is that a word?
Tired?
Too tired. That's probably the better word, which is Susie right now after she's yawning for the 5th time.
Okay, come on. I've been awake since 5 a.m. It's been a day.
So eating a lot of carbohydrates the day before, getting a good amount of sleep, and also hydrating. It's going to be super important. And then the day of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, make sure you bring snacks.
Yeah, snacks. You should be eating as normal of a breakfast as possible.
Right.
Maybe getting some extra carbohydrates in as well. So maybe
don't eat something you've never eaten before on game day.
Yeah. Maybe you get a little bit extra oatmeal in the morning. Maybe you put a little bit more fruit. Maybe get a little bit more honey in there, right? So get your normal breakfast in with a little bit extra carbs, and start hydrating immediately, not just with water, but with electrolytes. And then at the competition, you want to make sure you probably have at least one meal covered, because the last thing you want to do is not have one meal planned out throughout that whole day.
So the competition is typically like a full day thing, right?
Yeah. It could be like anywhere between
like an 8 to 3 kind of vibe.
Yeah, it could be anywhere between 5 to 8 hours depending on the competition.
Got it.
Some competitions are 2 days long, but that's more for the elite athletes, which we won't get into. Usually most competitions
that's not
are
the
just
population we're talking to. Yeah.
But yeah, so making sure you have at least one meal planned throughout, usually like a lunch. That's kind of the hour, the meal that you're prepping for. And also, like Susie said, bringing snacks, bars, banana, fruit, applesauce is a good one. Yeah, things that again are very carb heavy. They're going to help replenish the sugar that you're going to need for the intensity of those workouts.
Heck yeah.
And maybe a protein shake as well.
That'll be caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine pre-workout or just coffee. But something that's going to give you a little extra boost. Yeah. And then last thing is just having fun with it.
Hell yeah.
Like the most important part of this process is about you learning about yourself, you growing as not just an athlete, but as a person, because you're going to come out of there feeling on top of the world. You're going to feel a little bit beat up, which is normal.
Yeah, that's part of the process.
But, you know, take a rest day, maybe take max 2 rest days, but then get the body moving and just have fun with it. Have fun with your partner. Anytime I've been at a competition before, the most fun part is going to be like competing with someone or with a team. And then being around the community, that whoever you're with. Sometimes I've gone to competitions where you just go with 4 people and then maybe 2 extras come just for fun, like whether that's boyfriends and girlfriends or coaches. So those have been really fun as well. So just enjoy the time with the people, because I always feel like sometimes we forget, we're too in the competition that we forget how valuable the time spent with the people and the suffering on the floor is.
Yeah, like that's the whole point.
Yeah. So
for most people, it's not about winning the prize, right? Yeah. For most people, it's about enjoying the process. Like that's the whole point. That's why you do this.
Yeah. And then after that, wherever you finish, try to learn from it. Like try to come away and be like, you know what, man, I really struggled in the weightlifting component compared to everyone else that was in that competition. Like I was really the bottom limiter to middle tier of the weightlifting, and that really brought my rank quite low on the leaderboard.
Yep.
Or man, like the conditioning on that freaking Echo bike when I got on there, like after the second round, my legs were shot, right? So you come away from these things and then use that as motivation and use that as fuel to target those weaker points in your training.
Yeah.
And typically it'll give you a little bit more sense of pleasure when you're doing the things that you probably don't enjoy doing as much.
Yeah, like things that are quote unquote weaknesses.
For example, I don't like doing thrusters. They suck.
Agreed.
But I know every time after I finish a competition, I'm like, man, I got to work on my thrusters. And then every time I do thrusters, I'm like,
this is boosting me.
Yeah, exactly. This is improving my capacity on this movement that I feel I need to work on. So yeah. Anything else, love?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Are we due for a recap?
Ooh, recap. All right, do it.
Okay, wait. What am I recapping? Am I going to recap from the beginning? No.
Well, just like why are these competitions and stuff, right? I think they're just a very cool. There's just a cool thing that CrossFit does.
It's if you participating in something more than
just a normal group class.
Exactly. I feel like it gives like an extra little purpose, an extra little element of fun, gets you out of your comfort zone.
And the atmosphere is incredible. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So why? That's it.
The vibes.
We talked about like who should be competing, whether you're a beginner.
Anyone who's game.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be game.
Yeah.
And if you're game, then there's a level for anybody at their current place.
Yep. And then like the common myths, try not to think about, oh, I'm not good enough and I don't want to look dumb, or I don't want to slow down my partner, or it's too intense.
Any myth that you think you would say, like any I'm not blah, 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 or I'm whatever, just think what would you tell your best friend if they told you that? And then like take that advice instead.
Boom. And then we talked about tips for the first time competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat well, sleep well, drink lots of water.
And make sure you're prepared for game day.
Have fun.
And have fun.
Boom.
And
mic drop.
And enjoy the process. Yeah. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys on our competition floor. Susie and I were
so pumped
discussing maybe doing a competition.
I would love to do a competition with you, my love. Yeah. It's almost 7 years we're together. And how many CrossFit competitions have we done together, Brandon?
We've done 0.
How many CrossFit competitions have you done with other people that are not me?
I've done a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would like to say. So that, it just feels unjust as your wife.
Yeah.
I'm mad at you now. Yeah. We're going to fight about this.
Well, to be fair,
before
COVID, we were just at very different levels in CrossFit.
Careful where you're going with this, because I've seen you compete with people who are at a vastly different level than you.
And then come after COVID, we opened up our gym.
Yeah.
And then really all the Turn Up the Heat competitions we've done, I haven't been able to compete in them just because I'm emceeing and organizing the event.
Yeah.
And I think I've only done one since we've opened up CrossFit Max.
Yeah. But it wasn't with me.
It wasn't with you. It was with Coach Daff.
Yeah. Who at the time was at a vastly different level than you.
Yeah. Which she was also at a vastly different level than what she's at today.
Yeah, 100%.
So she couldn't even do toes to bar at that competition. Or she did one toes to bar at that competition.
That's hilarious. Now she's doing bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups. She's killing it.
Yeah. Crazy.
She's a killer.
Crazy.
Anyways, all this to say,
and now you're just too fit for me.
I know. It's so embarrassing to partner with someone like not as fit as me, but I'll do it for you.
I think I might slow you down.
Yeah, probably will actually. You should find you a new partner. Me and Daphne are just too good for you now.
Oh man.
No,
but anyways,
kidding.
We were talking about potentially doing one. Logistics is definitely tough.
Yeah, because if we're both there, like who's taking care of the child? Yeah.
Should we let's just put it out there. This is what we were thinking. Let's give the podcast some juicy stuff.
There's
a CrossFit competition. We don't know if this is going to happen, but there's one in Gatineau, which is about a 2-hour drive. We were thinking about trying to get a babysitter for Thomas on it's a Saturday competition in Gatineau. So getting a babysitter for the Saturday, piecing out here at like 5 a.m., driving to the competition, competing all day, and then driving back. That would be a big day.
Yeah.
And we could do our first CrossFit competition. And it's a big one. It's more of a stadium one.
But someone would have to be with the baby from 5 a.m. until like 7 p.m.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a thought. We don't know if it's going to happen, but we were thinking of like whether we could grind it out or not.
And it would be so intense to do all that driving and competing in one day.
Yeah.
But we would be so high on the experience.
Yeah. And from my experience of doing competitions, the adrenaline after a competition is so high and you feel so good about yourself that you're like, wow, I just completed that. I just accomplished all those hard workouts. It doesn't even matter where I finished. The fact that I just did all those workouts. And then usually the people around in the competition, I've had people who have finished way lower than me on the leaderboard. And I'm like, holy shit, like that person is so impressive. Like this team is so impressive when they're working out. And then you realize that you actually did better than them. And you're like looking at them compete and you're like, holy shit, like all these people around just look so freaking good on this competition floor. And it's just everyone is motivating. And like you wouldn't be able to know who's on the actual, like where people are on the leaderboard just by looking around, you know? So you're just, adrenaline is up. You feel like this sense of accomplishment, the energy from the crowd and the atmosphere and even the competitors in the lanes next to you, like they're pushing to get the best score that they can get and you're pushing to get the best score that you can get. So
it's contagious, like the vibe, the energy.
So I don't know if the 2-hour drive might be rough because we'll be sore, but cruise control that shit on the Tesla.
Our car drives itself.
We could be okay, but yeah. Anyways, just throwing it out there for fun. We don't know if it's gonna happen.
We're hoping that Susie and Brandon can compete for the first time together.
That'd be cool.
It'd be so nice to like take you under my wing and like show you a thing or two.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
We'll sign up in the elite category.
I'm just kidding.
I'll bring it down. I'm sorry, love.
No, you're so good. You're so good.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go and end the podcast the same way we always do, with client of the week.
Pew, 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 pew.
This client was strategically put in because we're trying to convince them to do the turn up the heat. No, I'm just kidding.
But like sort of.
We are trying to convince this athlete to do the turn up the heat. So when they're listening to this, they know.
Yes.
Because I've already had the conversation with them a couple times. But also, the reason why they're the actual client of the week is because they shared that they have now completed 1 year of training at CrossFit Max.
Ooh, that's so freaking awesome. What a milestone. Like 1 year is such a milestone.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like ultra consistent throughout the year. And that client is Mike.
Yay, go Mike.
So Mike, it's been really cool to see and coach your growth and your development at the gym.
Yo, he got his first ring muscle up last week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Super cool. He got his first
cool.
ring muscle up. You know, he was a typical bro session type guy.
Yeah, he always says he's allergic to leg day.
Yeah, we kind of tease him. I think we talk about him on the podcast as well, but we tease him at the gym. You know, Jess, as his partner, has been, you know, she spent years trying to convince him to do CrossFit, saying that he would love it and everything. And then he finally took initiative, did his foundations with Susie.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy. He's been doing CrossFit for a year, but his mindset has shifted. His just his results that he's gotten in terms of his weightlifting and his gymnastics and everything, his ability is like, even his cardio.
Oh yeah.
Like he was pushing in today's noon class, like he was sending it. So there's just all around performance increases and the results have been great. So shout out Mike for just being an awesome client.
And we'll retract the statement if you don't sign up for the competition. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's a joke.
Yeah. And just congrats for finishing your first year of CrossFit, dude. That's remarkable.
Here's to many more.
Hell yeah. So we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. If you are planning on signing up for a competition and you're not sure, or you have questions, please reach out to us on Instagram. We would love to chat with you, even if you want to do a like a video call. We would love to FaceTime you and just hear
feedback.
Yeah, hear about like which competition you would like to sign up for, why it's holding you back, what's the friction points, and or even hopefully better, we see you on the Turn Up the Heat competition floor on July 5th. So we'll call it there. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
Bye.